Okay, sweet. Okay, what's up, guys? This is Mark Augustine, and I'll do the whole spiel. But I've been dropshipping for a long time. I've sold over $20 million, and I try to. I've done interviews like this before, and these are the most interesting ones. But we have Jessica on. But so, Jessica, could you introduce yourself to the audience, and then I'll kind of get into it.
Hi,
Who are you?
everybody. My name is,
Yeah,
who am I?
yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica. I am the head of product at PriceYak.com. We're the original dropshipping company. If you ever heard the term auto ordering, we invented it and we trademarked it. People don't really hear about us very often. We're usually just keeping our heads down, building really cool tools. We're a small team of engineering nerds. We don't do that much marketing. We're just really busy supporting the biggest dropshippers. So I'm happy to do this today with Mark.
Yeah, so I've done interviews with like other software companies. And can you just who are you at PriceYak? Like what is your position there? How long you've been there? How did you get into the business? Because I've been a dropshipper for a long time. I've made software back in the day. I've known you guys since I made DSHini. I didn't know that you guys trademark auto ordering, so that's cool. But yeah, so kind of give us kind of like you, if you don't mind, your history with PriceYak, and then we could get into it. So what is your position there? How long you've been there? Um,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so my title is actually head of product. My job is to make sure that I'm talking to as many drop shippers as possible. Usually I'm on the phone all day, every day with big drop shippers and asking them, hey, what are you doing that's really manual, that's wasting a lot of your time, that a robot could do better and more accurately? So we could save you time on the dumb stuff so that you can actually focus on growing your business. So that's my job. I listen to everybody. I talk to everybody. And I'm just like trying to stay ahead of the curve because dropshipping is always an ever-changing game. It's a cat and mouse game with marketplaces, especially when we're doing retail, which is what we specialize in. And so, when you're running a business, you have to decide what do you build, when, and why.
Mhm.
And my job is to convince the entire team after listening to everybody and to help keep everything on schedule and reprioritize stuff when fires happen, because inevitably things change, right? So we're always trying to stay ahead of the game. That's my job.
Okay, sweet. So what you talked about you guys specializing in retail and marketplaces. So where did you all start? Is it that you all started in I think we all started on eBay, no?
Yeah, we all started on eBay. So our founders, one of them started dropshipping, I think textbooks or computer parts out of his dorm room at MIT.
Hmm.
He was like doing this. He was just like, how do I make money really fast? And he's a big nerd. So he's always just thinking about really clever ways of making money. And when he realized that he couldn't do it manually anymore, he was like, who's the smartest person I know? He called an engineer friend of his, a fellow engineer friend of his from high school
Hmm.
named Eric Swanson. And they got together and they're like, how do we build like a simple version of some automatic listing, repricing, and ordering to make this easier? And eventually, some big drop shippers found them somehow, and they're like, hey, I have this problem too. I'm doing all this crap manually.
Ah,
It's very messy. I keep making mistakes. Could you please make software for my style of drop shipping? And these guys were like, yeah, totally. And Doug grabbed another friend, Max from MIT, and they, grabbed a couple other smart friends from other engineers from big companies in San Francisco, and PriceYak was born.
wow. Okay, okay. I didn't realize the founders were so more both of the founders were MIT engineers from MIT.
Two of the
The
technically, like
original, the
the
original, yeah.
co-founders were engineers from MIT,
Wow.
and then another one was like the smartest person that one of them knew from high school. He was just like, I'm an engineer, but there's like actually smarter engineers out here who don't necessarily go to MIT. I'm
Right.
a big advocate for state schools, right? So Doug called Eric and was like, hey, you could probably do this faster and better than me. And Eric was like, yeah, totally.
Okay, okay. So have you all been doing
And so
auto
it's just,
ordering? Go ahead, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, we've been doing auto ordering from the start. That was the big choke point for a lot of people. People were like, you enter stuff and you make typos and you create problems for yourself. And we just want to make all this stuff simpler and faster.
Okay, okay. And what? So y'all did eBay. You went to Amazon like most people, and now are you guys on both Amazon and Walmart, or what? Where are you guys now?
Yeah, so we always get feedback from people being like, I'm selling on Amazon now. Can you make the same thing for Amazon? or I'm selling on Shopify now. Can you make the same thing for Shopify?
Mhm.
And so that has expanded when it comes to, you know, how we call stuff sources, like where you source from, and destinations where you list to. So our destinations now include eBay, Shopify, Walmart, Amazon, and WooCommerce.
Wow.
And this is usually, it's just our biggest customers. We work with so many big drop shippers who need quality software. They've come from other softwares. They're like, oh my God, I tried to save money and now look at me, like I've lost money. And we always say they always come crawling back. And they're like, oh my God, I need a quality tool for this because I'm starting on this marketplace. Can you help us? So that's where our destinations have been. Sources have always been a little more hard to pin down. We have built many sources. We've built for many sources, but people aren't always successful on them. We've always been most successful sourcing from Amazon, but people sourcing from AliExpress, most people don't succeed. We found sourcing from one time when people were like, can you please build a source for Best Buy? And we were like, okay, we'll build it. We built it. And then we realized that Best Buy has its own store on eBay. So we were like, oops.
No, but okay. So I although eBay like on eBay there's a Best Buy store. I've drop shipped from Best Buy on eBay. It's just like yeah, because back in the day, I know it's changed a bit in the past like year to 2 years, but I remember specific, and even Target. I remember a specific bouncy castle from Target. Target had an eBay store, and because like my title of the bouncy castle was like kids backyard bouncy castle or something, or like commercial or something. I remember, I clearly remember selling it for $675 when it cost me like $380, and Target had it on eBay for like $4 something. So there's still that. I think the strategy of retitling could allow you to drop ship from the same retailer, because Target would be like Target or Best Buy will be like the brand of the item and whatever. It wouldn't be like keyword filled. So I remember clearly doing that. I know a lot of people don't, but I see what you're saying. Like a lot of people are going to systematically drop ship against a retailer.
We notice a lot of people asking for all sorts of marketplaces. When I'm my job is to validate it, right? I would not tell my engineering company, hey, please build this thing because one stranger on the other side of the internet said it once. I have to build a case, and I have to like prove to my team that a source is meaningful, right? I see a lot of our competitors with like listing like 80 sources. They're like, we source them here and here and here and here. And I was like, how could you possibly do any of those well? You know, like there must be quality issues. There must be some sort of problem, because we really pride ourselves on the quality of our repricing and our listing. And it takes a lot of work to do something well. And so when we notice the marketplace being like, we can help you source from 8 billion places, we're like, that's going to be messy. There's going to be problems. It's not going to be a fun time. You know, we're really curious about what the next source is. Amazon might not be our future. We're open to that conversation. But we have to be like, what are the smart steps to take rather than doing like 100 things poorly? What are like 5 things that we could do really, really well, you know? And that's like the forefront of where our questions are these days.
Okay. So the challenge in the question is, I see where you're coming from. With Amazon, the issues that come up is a tracking number for the main part, right? Like they give you a weird tracking number. But you all have auto ordering from Amazon. Wow. And where else would you? So I actually know some people that drop ship from Target to Walmart, but it's not at scale. So a typical drop ship on this with how the platform works, is it that the listing tool is something that's scraping, like a typical client has thousands of listings? Because that would change how the software works as well, right? Because like how I source items, I've been dropshipping a long time, and I've always put in a lot of work in strategy and research. So I have like a lot less listings for the most part than a lot of big dropshippers, but I still sell a lot with high margins. It's just that like the research part of things, I tend to use more data in the most part. You see what I'm saying? Like when I dropship on Walmart, for example, I use another piece of software, that gives me, I use FBM Fox. Everyone knows that. It's on my channel. But I use that piece of software that gives you an idea of the sales that happen on Walmart. And like they use an API to get like an estimate on the data, right? So a lot of times people go to Amazon, scrape thousands of items, listed at like a fixed profit margin on Walmart. When I would go in and find items that sell, like, I'll be very more picky with what I list. You see what I'm saying? So with that type of strategy, I think it would work. It's also not very automated. I know you guys focus a lot on automation, a lot on not making mistakes. Yeah.
We're engineers.
Yeah.
Very precise.
Yeah. So that's a hard question. We talked about it off camera. And the main issue is I don't think Amazon would work long term as a supplier for Walmart. I just don't think so.
Yeah, not for Walmart, maybe. Yeah. But for plenty of other marketplaces, there's people who are creative and resilient. When people always write into our support and they're like, teach me how to dropship, or give me tips, or give me strategy. And it's like, if we gave everyone the same strategy, then everyone would just compete themselves out of business, right? Like, we want to honor the diversity and creativity of our customers. Everybody has a different strategy. Everyone has a different risk threshold, right? Everyone can afford to take different risks because of maybe what kind of privileged background they come from, or like how scrappy they want to be. And we can't, advice is never one size fits all. So this is part of the reason why you've never seen me on these YouTube things, because I'm like, people are going to be asking me for strategies when really I'm here to build tools, you know? People call me and they're like, here's a strategy that I'm using, but it's wasting a lot of my time. And then it's like, oh, then we can have a conversation about how to build tools around that strategy, like a proven strategy, rather than just be like, maybe you could do that. Because then if I give them advice, I'm not an expert on strategy. I'm just an expert on building cool tools in the tech world. But if I give them advice and they don't sell anything, then they're just going to yell at me. So this is why, like, you know, I'm not going to try to pose as someone who knows everything. Our team is smart and curious, and we ask the right questions. You know, we try to get the conversation direct into a productive manner to be like, how do we help you make money? Where are you wasting time when you're trying to make money?
Right. Well,
how can we help?
Right. So, okay. So let me bring that up. I personally think that too many people are trying to prolong the Amazon to Walmart dropshipping. So I think a lot of influencers are being a bit disingenuous in teaching to dropship from Amazon to Walmart, when the math and you break in too many rules when you dropship from Amazon to Walmart. We all know this is a gray area. We try to not break rules to make money with retail arbitrage, right? But I think the Amazon to Walmart game is over, and no one is just saying that. Dropship Tyler brought it up. But I also think that my personal fear, because I've been in this so long, is that Walmart, in my opinion, is still a huge opportunity, but it's not going to work with Amazon. And I am not in the software business anymore per se. I do marketing for like just FBM Fox right now. I interview a lot of you guys. And that interests me a lot, right? And I think, I know you brought up earlier in the conversation that a lot of other software does price tracking or price changing for a lot of suppliers. But I think that we need, when I say we, the community of dropshippers, needs a tool that is dependable and still expands a bit on suppliers and systematically stays away from Amazon. Because I think, and let me explain why. I've been in the software side of things, and on the software side of things, you get a lot of insights, because you have a lot more data. And a lot of others, what interests me about you guys is that you guys build quality software and kind of stick to what you can do. And I've seen other software companies build something and just have influencers lie about how reliable it is to keep selling it, right? Like I have 1,700 videos. This is who I am. So let me put a disclaimer. This is Mark, not Jessica, right? But I think that that the size of the Walmart marketplace and the limited amount of, so Walmart sells a lot themselves, and they have a big market. They have a lot of customers. I've looked at some of the data, right? And there's little competition in a lot of categories. So I think that one of the, and I've noticed that because of how I personally do product research. I'm trying to stick to like our conversation on software, right? But I think the data that we have on the amount of sales is happening and opportunity in the categories should give a software company like you guys, like kind of encourage you guys to look at expanding the suppliers, but find a middle ground. Because I've used a lot of the other software that, yeah, they supply everything and it's not consistent. So I get what you're saying. And then the other thing that you guys solve is with uploading tracking numbers and at a timely fashion. That's something else that needs to happen with multiple suppliers. So for instance, I actually dropship on Walmart from Target, and one of the bigger suppliers now is eBay, which is strange. Dropshipping from eBay to Walmart. So I'm gonna look at some data, some accounts, and send it to you and see if you can look at what you guys could do. But that's something I wanted to talk about. What would it take to convince you guys as a company to add more suppliers to the Walmart list and the Walmart platform? Because I feel like what happened recently with a lot of the accounts getting suspended, a lot of software companies are looking at, with good reason, right? Like I'm not saying that like Walmart is a kind of a minefield because it's new. When eBay was new, they keep changing and people get suspended and they come back, they get suspended and they come back. And I think Walmart, I know that Walmart is kind of in that place, but one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is because of that. My hope is that you guys do not look for tweaking it a little bit. And one of the main things is to add more suppliers. I don't know if it like you will want to focus on 4 main suppliers based on a certain number. How do you guys make that decision? How do you make a decision how to add a supplier?
Usually it's pretty simple. Usually it's a big seller who calls and is like, I don't have good tools for this. I'm already doing it successfully, but I'm drowning. They're like, I'm drowning. I can't do this anymore. I need engineering. That's usually what starts us building when someone is really committed and has already proven how it works, right? Another alternative is just like maybe a small group of sellers who are all committed to selling from this source. They can all come as one and be like, hey, we're serious. We actually need this. Because so many times people are like, can you build this for us, please? And we build it and then they like disappear. It's so sad.
Okay,
it's like dating, you know?
No, but let me challenge you on something. Right? Early in this drop shipping, because I was making a video about the evolution of drop shipping, right? Early in this drop shipping game or process, it was a lot about a lot of influencers or a lot of strategies being sold, and then the software companies realize, wait, there's a problem, let's fill that need. But I think that because of how dropshipping has evolved, and it has already got to a point where a lot of stuff is automated, a lot of the decision making on where to sell starts with the automation and starts with the software, as opposed to before when it starts with, this is the strategy we should use. And then you get a big dropshipper that has worked really hard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like build it and they will come, right? Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some of that chicken and egg debate. And Walmart is for sure a huge opportunity. Walmart wants to eat Amazon. Amazon's like over here, and Walmart's like this far from being number one. Like they're so far from being number one, but they have the like biggest retail footprint in the United States, I think. They want to be number one, but they're really, really far from being number one, which means in the space between where Walmart is and where Amazon is, all of this is opportunity. Right. So it's going to be messy. As we know, with like dropshipping on eBay, there were so many policy changes. It's basically growing pains. And people have to be really smart and careful, because right now Walmart's just trying to crack down, but they'll get bored, they'll get distracted, but then they'll come back and crack down again when they're like, oh crap, I forgot about that thing. So it's always cyclical. And so we have to play our cards really right? We have to make sure that the creative, clever dropshippers are out there protecting their accounts thoughtfully. And we're observing very, very carefully to be like, what is the opportunity? What's our next move here? How do we play this? There's so much opportunity to sell on Walmart. We just don't know what the landscape looks like right now. As far as we know, it's just full of lions and alligators, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we need those lions and alligators to like go do something else for a second while we figure out our strategy.
No, but you
And
can.
we're definitely open to more sources. We just have to choose carefully, you know? Maybe our old method of waiting for someone to call us is outdated. We should just do our own research, but we can't just make decisions based on a guess,
Okay,
right?
so
Especially when you're working with a team of engineers, they're like, we need at least a little bit of data. Like,
okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We are pretty. I assume that we are pretty logical human beings. You build software.
yeah.
I'm a drop shipper, right? So I don't think it needs to be a guess. So if you look at Walmart, we agree that there's an opportunity, right? But we also agree that Amazon does not solve the problem, because Amazon as a supplier, the tracking numbers, most of the tracking numbers you get is the Amazon tracking. So when you buy a fake tracking number, then Walmart realizes, and that's the main reason why a lot of accounts are blowing up. Between that, I get it suspended. So when I say blowing up, that's what I mean. When Walmart suspends it, right? So we have two options. We either look for other suppliers or look at restricting. I don't know what your research tool looks like, but restricting the listings that come on Amazon from maybe third-party FBA sellers. So you're not doing third-party sellers that are shipping themselves, but doing third-party sellers that maybe are not Amazon that are shipping, because those items tend to get regular tracking numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I know.
Basically, anything that you can see on the Amazon website, if you're using your own two eyes and you see it on the product description page, that might help distinguish something that you would choose if you were doing your own research of selecting items, or you're on the offers page where you're looking at who's selling it for what price, what are the details on that little thing. If you can see it with your own two eyes, PriceYak can probably see it. We probably there's a chance that Amazon may have added a detail that we forgot to tell PriceYak to look for. That's a quick change, you know? So anything that you can physically see, you could use PriceYak to distinguish it for. You just have to write to me and be like, hey, could you just like automatically check each of these descriptions for this one thing that I'm looking for, you know? That's one way that you could potentially filter for better.
So you're like that communicative with the customer. Okay. Wow. So you use Amazon. Wow. Okay. You blew my mind there. Cheers.
Yeah. I mean, recently we've just been, people were like, I only want to sell from sellers who have at least 95% positive reviews. Because if they're only selling from third party, then they're like, okay, I don't want to sell from people who can consistently get complaints.
Yeah.
So we're like, you can obviously see that on Amazon.com. It says 95% positive.
Yeah,
so we could just, so when you paste in a list of 10,000 listings, we could just be like, does it say that? Does it say that? Does it say that? And like throw out all the listings that don't. There's so many ways. You look at you open PriceYak. It's almost like, have you ever seen the inside of the NASA control center when they're launching a rocket ship? There's like buttons and screens and like options and switches. That's kind of how PriceYak is. It's been like experienced dropshippers being like, hey, I need a specific thing. And usually when they're a big enough customer, we're like, cool, we want to help you make money. We help each other, right? So we just like build a tool, slap it into PriceYak. The problem is we don't exactly have a designer because we're all engineers. So we're just like build tools, just pile them here on top of each other. So I think sometimes beginners come into PriceYak, they're like, when they look at all the possibilities of what you can do. But I think with PriceYak's pile of tools, an experienced dropshipper can come in and be like, oh, thank God. Thank God I can do this. And you can just basically mix and match an infinite combinations of strategies, right? I only want to sell from third-party people. I only want to sell if it says 2-day shipping. I only want to sell if the Prime sticker is there. I only want to sell it if the, I don't even know, if they definitely are shipping
any filter,
I'm like so many filters. Or I
looked at it briefly, but
there's so many.
I looked at it briefly, but it's you're right. So a lot of the software out there is built for beginners. I think that is one of the main differences with PriceYak and everything else, because a lot of the software out there is built for beginners because that's the biggest market, right? Because you guys' strategy simply solve problems for people you already have. So I think that is a big difference between PriceYak and a lot of the other software out there. because you guys always interest me, right? You guys are one of the companies that like stuck to your strategy and just stay there. You just build really good tools and kept moving, really, because a lot of the other software out there, there's some that come and gone. A lot of it's based on influencers and beginners, which I think is the biggest difference between you guys and everyone else. So before I continue, if you're any experienced dropshippers, chances are you're the only ones that will get this far in the video. You should check out. I'll put a link in the description to PriceYak. You can check it out. But okay, so let's get back to Walmart. What would it take? What would it take for me to convince you to add a supplier? Me personally, Mark. What would it take for Mark to convince PriceYak to add a supplier for the Walmart outside of Amazon?
Flip me your sales data, Mark. I want to see your sales data.
Okay.
And like which sources are doing the best. And that's a strong case. And if you can prove to me basically that you've been ordering manually or semi-manually for a long time and your orders aren't getting canceled, you know, like it's really, really sad.
Yeah, because you all are looking at the pricing tool and the auto ordering. You're not just looking at, because a lot of the other software has price changes for a lot of different suppliers, but they only have auto ordering for Amazon, right?
Yeah, we can build auto ordering. The problem is we don't know how the marketplace will treat our order after it succeeds.
Yeah.
For example, on Walmart, when you're trying to source from Walmart, you could have a robot be like, succeeds, success, success, success. It tells us the order succeeds. And then you get an email 3 days later saying that the order gets canceled, right? Or sometimes on like Costco or Sam's Club, sometimes you'll have weird order issues because the marketplace doesn't like you ordering at scale or shipping to lots of addresses. And so we could put in all this work to build up ordering. It will work, but we cannot control how the marketplace will treat the order after we've placed it. So if you've had sources where you can prove like, hey, I placed so many orders from them, they never get canceled. I'm just doing it manually and I'm like, you know, like snoring while I'm doing it, like someone up, like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's an ideal source for us, you know, because we're like happy to take that off your hands. We don't want anybody doing boring work. We're in 2021.
Okay, what do you consider
Nobody should be doing boring work. No dropshipper should be there entering addresses, putting stuff in their cart, you know?
Yeah.
Like no savvy dropshipper should be doing this stuff. No savvy dropshipper should be like, oh, I'm gonna slowly just paste the title and the photo, copy it to my thing, you know, like we're in an age where most of the time humans should not have to do this. Right. This is the point of technological advancement, is to free human beings from work that rots your brain.
Yeah.
So any source where you're like, I'm succeeding, I'm doing this, it's just really silly and kind of embarrassing that I'm doing it manually.
That's but a lot of people like, outsource it, right? Like a lot of people outsource a lot of the manual work. Like I personally live in a country that I outsource to, which, you being an engineer, outsourcing to humans is a bit challenging as well. There's a lot of errors that come up. But,
of course, and there's management headaches. And, you know, I'm the kind of person that's like an idealist when it comes to the politics of like low-level manual work. You know, we're hoping to like lift humanity out of that and to not starve people while we're lifting people out. There has to be an alternative way to build the future. Bigger political conversation, obviously. And it's obviously very idealistic and not necessarily aligned with our current reality, but it's like a horizon to hope for. And we can start by, if there's any dropshippers out there who are just like plugging away and like feeling like they're wasting their life, we can at least help you with that, right? It's like a small piece of what we can solve for the way people spend the precious life and time that they have on Earth.
Okay. So would you be, Jessica, would you be willing, if we get a dropshipper who's watching this, to come on and have like 3 of us have a conversation about this? I want to invite someone who's watching this video to reach out. I don't know if we could do a video. Hopefully we could do a video in a couple of weeks. But I would just like to formally invite any dropshippers, any questions, put in the comment section. But if you're a bigger dropshipper, I would say if you're selling more than, I don't know, let's say $100,000 a month on the Walmart platform, that would be interesting to have you on a call, because right now I sold like $200,000 a month with a couple of accounts and then I stopped right before a lot of those accounts got suspended. Remember when a lot of people came on YouTube and a lot of dropshippers in the groups were like, yeah, we got suspended, that type of stuff. I was selling up until I want to say April. Yeah, until early April. And then because of stuff in my personal, in where I live and stuff, I moved and I just started back to sell. And a lot of those suspensions happen in May, right? So it would be interesting if any of you guys watching this doing over $100,000. I would say if you're doing over $50,000 in your first 60 days, I would invite you as well. But yeah, I would comment in the comment section, ask any questions, and I invite hopefully Jessica. We could get on a call with another dropshipper.
I'm so curious. I want to know what your day-to-day looks like. I want to follow you around at work. I want to watch your screen the whole day and be like, I'm going to notice stuff that you're wasting time on. This is the question that drives me every day. Is just
okay, so how do you do that? What is your process with dealing with a dropshipper? Because me as a dropshipper and an influencer, like you saying like you want my sales data is almost saying like, you know what I mean?
No, it's almost like asking you to show me your underpants. I know a lot of people are very private.
Right. But what is your process? What is your when a dropshipper comes to you and say you have a problem? If you're looking at a dropshipper's actions, would you actually look at the research side? Would you actually look at fulfilling orders? You look at the whole dropshipping cycle?
Right. So there's so many ways to be a good product manager. The principles of it is find out where people's pain points are. Right. And then the second one is they're going to think that they have a solution for it. They're gonna be like, this is definitely the way you solve my problem. But maybe your existing tool is built a certain way that won't accommodate that. Or maybe there's actually a different way around that the user can't actually see. So then we actually go and observe the problem, scientifically observe the problem. We're like, what does this actually look like? I know what you feel. I know how it makes you feel. I know that you would like it to go away. But we should actually try to objectively observe what's going on and diagnose the problem so that we can actually find a really smart solution for it. So It's really just understanding pain points, trying to figure out what their problem exactly looks like. It's almost like doing surgery, cutting someone open, looking inside and being with the engineering skills that we have, what can we fix? And a lot of times we have to be disciplined about this, right? So we have a small, scrappy team, maybe a dozen people, mostly based out of San Francisco, now more remote because of the pandemic. And there's so many things we could work on. So we have to choose very, very carefully. And so there's these exercises that we do where it's just okay, the unicorn solution would look like this. It would be a beautiful horse, a rainbow tail and a horn. And it would be glimmery and glittery. And that would be our dream solution, right? But what does the horse look like? What does the horse that we could build in a week look like? Okay. And then we just make sure we keep our eye on that big goal, but then build something functional from the start, because then we can work with the user, call them in 2 days and be like, hey, we built this horse. Is it galloping right? Is it walking right? Yeah. And they're gonna be like, no, that leg is wobbly. And we're gonna be like, okay, fix that leg. Okay, try riding it again. And then we'll call again and be like, how's it going now? Is it a little better? And they're like, okay, but it's making funny noises over there. We're like, okay, let's look under the hood. So people call this an iterative, a fast iteration kind of development process where we catch problems early. We don't build with a lot of assumptions. We build with really simple assumptions and then slowly go from there with as much data as we can. And yeah, I would say that we're scrappy, right? But we're also very high touch. We're very high touch. We're very connected with our customers. And what's going on? What do you need?
I'll be cautious on using the word scrappy because I don't know if you've looked at other dropshipping software out there. If you look at it, just to be honest, if you look at this dropshipping software world, scrappy is what you should define most of it. So I wouldn't consider. I haven't looked at you guys' development from talking to other dropshippers. I haven't used this software a lot. I remember interacting with some of the co-founders back in this had to be 2015 or something because I know where I lived. Early in the year 2016, but I wouldn't use scrappy to define PriceYak.
Okay, we're resourceful.
Okay.
and smart. We just take very thoughtful bets is what we do, because everything in dropshipping is kind of a bet. We can never guarantee anything. We can't control our universe. We can only work with the information that we have, right? And invest thoughtfully.
And why don't you guys do more of like formal marketing? I know you guys work with customers, but when we spoke before, okay, so this is my opinion. This is not Jessica. This is not PriceYak. This is Crazy Mark on his YouTube channel, right? When we spoke before, and we had a conversation about the quality of the engineers at PriceYak. I know it's not a big team. I think that is something that is not talked about in dropshipping, because dropshipping is a weird kind of like gray area. And I've built software before. I've interacted with a lot of the CEOs of the other software companies. I know how they hire, and you guys having high quality, like educated engineers is what separates you from pretty much everyone else is out there, right? Like, and I feel weird that isn't. I'm a YouTuber in dropshipping, right? So I talk about all this stuff. I talk about the strategies. I do a lot of courses free and all that stuff. But the fact that there's an actual software company with A-class developers building dropshipping software is why I was excited to have you guys on the channel, have you on the channel, because that does not happen. And that's a kind of, no, like, I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, but it doesn't. Like, it's a lot of just like hacking together software. I remember when DSHini we built from scratch, but we built it on some like very basic technology. And a lot of the software companies stick with their old technology. They're not using very good engineers. So I think more of that should be told. Like, I'm so excited to talk to you. And I know we started slow, but I was excited to get to this because you guys are a real software company, dude. In a gray,
Yeah, we are.
in a really weird middle gray market that does not get this quality development, generally speaking. So why isn't that not? I know we talked about this off camera. Why is it that you guys just never had to tell this story before? What it's so y'all are like a unicorn. You all are actually a unicorn, right? You all are actually a unicorn in this dropshipping software space, and I feel like no one has talked about it. Is it that the users that use the software are not influencers for the most part? Is it that you guys never had to do like very hard marketing? Why isn't this unicorn not talked about how it has a horn? Like, where did this horn come? You know what I mean? Like the story behind it.
We've been a little nervous about preaching about dropshipping. You know, I feel like there's so many people who talk a big game in this space. And especially right now in the pandemic, there's lots of people who've lost their jobs, who need quick cash to pay their rent,
Right.
who need to survive. And there's lots of beginners that are getting sucked into this space with promises of big, easy money. And honestly, dropshipping is not easy.
Right.
It's not easy. The people who succeed work really hard at it and think really hard about it. Or at the very beginning they did. Some of them are experts now, and they're cruising along. But the people who are just starting, it's not easy. And anybody who's promising that it's easy, it will solve all your life's problems, we get nervous about that. We want to do work that's like not predatory. We want to make sure that we're building tools for people who actually need it that will help people succeed. So when I look on YouTube and I see all these people being like, I made $1 bazillion one day, I'm like I don't want to promise that to anybody. Right.
But that's why I think the software companies should, because you can't have everyone promising. Like, I started dropshipping because I was traveling. I like to travel, and that was one way I could make money remotely, right? And I figured out certain strategies, and I'm a mathematician, and I have a certain framework of like using data to figure out what sells. But I haven't sold a lot of training per se. Right. Mm-hmm. But I think more people in the dropshipping space need to be, I think a voice of a real software company is needed, because even other of these companies that build software, and I'm not going to say any names, but they would like make software and then like hire influencer, but the message is the same what you're saying. A lot of hype. When a software company, okay, one big example, right, that we can learn from you. What marketplace do you have the most users on? Can you share that information?
eBay.
Right. And you
Old
saying
school.
and you're seeing the most, are you seeing the most sales on eBay?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's spread like evenly between eBay, Shopify. It's kind of becoming more homogenous now that we've built more stuff. But eBay is where we started.
And
eBay
you're
is where
still there.
we're still there. It's been like it's been our core, but we've expanded to Amazon. We've expanded to Shopify because people ask for it and people are doing well there. So, but eBay's always been central.
Right. And that is something that a software company could add to this voice about dropshipping that regular influencers would not, because regular influencers monetize the influence with courses. So they'll do eBay and then make the money on eBay and then get bored, and then do Amazon and make the money on Amazon and then get bored, and then make the money on all these platforms. And then you have all these people moving on these marketplaces, and then the new people that come, like I left eBay, right? And I'm one of the oldest influencers. Because there's no influencer system or no big influencer systematically talking about eBay, there's no one talking about the strategies. You bringing up the fact that you still have a lot of eBay drop shippers is a big deal in this world of drop shipping. You know what I mean? Because
It's different, right?
it's different and it's unique because it's unique. Well, it's impartial. It's based on data, as opposed to an influencer who's preaching about something based on they want to sell another course. You see what I'm saying?
One of my favorite customers, one thing that he says a lot is successful dropshippers don't share their secrets.
Yeah.
It's like if you're still successfully dropshipping, if you're still running your business, why would you teach your competitors how to do it?
Most people don't.
So that's the thing about advertising. It's just, I feel like this influencer channel is interesting and fruitful, but I want to be really careful, right? I want to make sure that we're not promising people the world. We can promise you the best tools that the smartest engineers can build based on things that other big dropshippers need. So in a way, maybe when they ask for a feature, in a way, they might be sharing their secrets, right? Because if a button exists in PriceYak, it's because someone who's experienced asked for it.
Yeah.
Someone asked for it. So that's one way that dropshippers share their secrets is, but generally, like it's like a very competitive world.
Yeah.
And
because
we just want to make sure that we're not here
to make money from home. That's why. So you're home and you could make a lot of money. I guess that's why it's competitive. Everyone can.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's like a resilience and a persistence and a creativity to the people who succeed long-term in dropshipping, I found. It's people who are always trying to find a way. It's people who will survive, who are determined to survive no matter what. They don't take a step back and they're like, oh, I got kicked off a platform. Now it's over. They're like, what's the next thing? What do I do next? What's the next creative thing that no one else is doing? Those are the people that I love working with the most. It's the most fun because they're so funny. They're living very big, interesting lives somewhere in Nicaragua or in Thailand, or like they're just interesting people who are just so creative and will survive no matter what. But yeah, PriceYak's not out to scam. We just want to build tools with integrity. We're not here to make a buck. Like it hurts my heart when someone gets scammed by someone who's like, you could make $1 billion and they like run up a store having done no research.
Yeah. And
they spend all this money on consultants or like people who are saying they're going to help them and write them a check every month, and they just get taken for a ride. Like dropshipping is a real business, people live very interesting lives because dropshipping affords it to them. But they were at some point committed. At some point they studied. At some point they figured out a way, right? And so we just want to be really, really careful about the way that we're telling people to dropship. It's like, yes, this could be a great way to make money, but you have to use your brain, like the tools will automate for stuff for you after you figured out your strategy, after you figured out what works for you. Then you can just hit play. You just put everything in a row and hit play. That's what PriceYak does for you, right?
Okay. And where do you think PriceYak is going next? Or what you guys are seeing happening in the dropshipping space?
Yeah, so Walmart's a huge, interesting opportunity, right? We're all kind of, even though Amazon has been our biggest source, we're all still kind of not rooting for Amazon. I remember when we're always like here to serve the little guy, right? I I remember when Amazon was facing down some antitrust lawsuits. I think some states were trying to sue them for being anti-competitive. I asked one of our founders, I was like, hey, what will Zinc or PriceYak? Zinc is our parent company. We build all sorts of interesting e-commerce related tools, not just for drop shippers, but for people who sell all sorts of stuff on the internet. I was like, what's our future if Amazon gets busted up? If someone takes a big bat and hits Amazon and breaks it, like what happens? And he was just like, that's like a confetti bomb of opportunities for us. Even though it would like take us down short term, people who sell stuff on the internet are so creative and see opportunities everywhere. And there will be many more interesting problems that crop up as e-commerce develops, as other software companies start to try to compete with Amazon and take a chunk of Amazon's market share. Everyone's trying to take bites out of Amazon.
Yeah.
Weird opportunities will crop up. Our ears will be open. We're like excited to find out what people are doing next. I know that sounds so broad, but you literally can't predict the future. All you can predict are that people who sell stuff on the internet and who are determined to make money on the internet will find a way. and they're gonna need tools.
Yeah. And how, I've played in a Shopify game a bit, but not with retail. Are people drop shipping on Shopify using retailers?
Yeah. So remember Oberlo? Like there's so many ads for Oberlo. Oberlo started Amazon to Shopify, right? They were actively encouraging people to drop ship from retail.
Really?
And mostly Amazon.
I didn't really dig into that. I drop ship from wholesalers before, and from AliExpress. I never drop ship from retailers.
I hope I'm not lying out of my butt.
Yeah.
But if I recall correctly, Oberlo was primarily Amazon to Shopify. That was all they were advertising. They were like, quickly list stuff to Shopify. And then I think Shopify bought Oberlo. Oh my God, if I'm wrong about this, please delete this from the video. But I'm pretty sure that like Shopify was actively encouraging retail dropshipping. They're like, look, you can use Oberlo. Yeah. And we endorse it by buying Oberlo.
And are you seeing dropshippers successfully on a software side? I mean, you all put in the hours and the dedication to build a piece of software to list to Shopify. Are you all seeing users successfully do it? And the reason why I ask, in this world of influencers, people fake everything to sell courses, right? Like I have personally sold on eBay, personally sold on Amazon, personally sold on Walmart, Facebook Marketplace. I haven't touched shops, and I've done Shopify, but using Google Shopping and using like wholesale suppliers. But I have not personally seen someone successfully dropship on Shopify using retailers.
Interesting. Shopify is a multifaceted beast, right? The people that we know who are used to selling on eBay or Walmart or Amazon, someplace where people in their brains, when they want to buy something, they go to Amazon.com, They look for it. There's that built-in discoverability. Those people are not the experts on Shopify. People who are experts on Shopify are advertising experts, right? So it's a totally different set of skills. Game. And it doesn't always intersect with the people that we immediately know in the dropshipping space who are used to selling from one retailer to a marketplace that's known. Right. So there are successful dropshippers on Shopify. They are just experts in different things. Yeah. It's a different expertise. It's the same thing. It's like, I'm a violinist. If you ask me to play cello, I couldn't freaking play a cello. And the other thing is that Shopify has an app marketplace that there's a bunch of shitty, am I allowed to curse? There's a bunch of shitty third-party apps on the Shopify marketplace that do a bunch of small things poorly. So if you sell stuff on Shopify and you want to like link it to before we built Walmart, there were like a bunch of crappy Shopify apps that linked your Shopify store to Walmart. And that's how people listed to Walmart. So they use Shopify as like
I know to put the inventory
Amazon and then port it literally anywhere else. So there's lots of funny, weird opportunities on Shopify too, right? And it's the creative people who are doing funny things. And I'm really curious about the people who are doing really, really well with really shitty tools. That is our strength, man. Like if someone watches this video and is like, man, I'm doing something really weird on Shopify, but I'm having a terrible, like it would be really successful if my tools didn't suck so much. Oh my God, call me. Oh my God, that's the conversation I want to have.
Okay. And you all have not looked at Facebook as a marketplace, not just a marketplace, but Facebook shops.
It's interesting, right? Where the conversation we have is like, oh, do we want to go up against one of the big, strongest anti-bot companies in the world? Facebook like got so much shit for political robots, right? So they're heavily investing in anti-bot, and we're like, oh, is that a fight we want to pick? Is it worth it? I mean, we haven't shut the door on that conversation, right? So that's the consideration, that and Google Shopping and stuff like that. These big anti-bot people who can invest a lot in anti-bot. Amazon's already one of the beasts. We have been fighting that beast for almost a decade now. We're experts at it, but like, do we want to take on more? Huge giant beasts. like, I mean, sure, maybe if the opportunity is big enough, sure, you know. But it's another one of those things that isn't very well fleshed out when it comes to Facebook. It doesn't know how it's going to run its marketplace. I'm a huge Facebook marketplace shopper. I'm always looking for vintage furniture on Facebook marketplace. It's actually hard to find what you want. You have to dig through a lot of mess.
Their search results are very weird. Like it's not very optimized at all. I think how they do sale with their more suggestions and so on is a very weird. Like I don't do much shop because I sell so much over the years. I am not a shopper at all. Like at all. I remember selling iPods for like 3 or 4 years before I touched one. I don't even have a phone. I haven't had a phone for 3 years. I have an iPad Pro, but I don't have a phone. But so I recently I've been selling on Facebook Marketplace for a few months, not in my account, but in a couple of US accounts. And only recently I've gone through trying to shop on Facebook Marketplace. And it's a very weird experience.
You have to filter it's good for an alternative to Craigslist. Like if you want to filter for local furniture that you can pick up, you filter for local pickup only, and it gets all those dropshippers out of your way. In fact, I find like a negative experience to see like ships to you on Facebook, because I'm like, I could buy that somewhere else.
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
Huh.
I filter them out when I'm shopping on Facebook Marketplace. That's a little user research for you.
Yeah, thanks. So okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if there's anything that people take away from this, it's that, you know, you have to start somewhere when you're learning to dropship. I usually don't talk to beginners, but this is why I'm on YouTube now. I'm going to try. Yeah. My advice for beginners would be, you have to start somewhere. You have to learn from somebody somehow, right? You can experiment on your own, but you might as well watch some videos, learn some stuff to make sure you don't make really goofy mistakes. But then once you get to a certain level of understanding, start to trust yourself more, start to trust your own data more. Understand that if everyone did the same thing, no one would win. So you can't necessarily always follow YouTube advice to a T, because there's going to be thousands of viewers who are all trying to do the same thing and you will all lose, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, gain your expertise from people who are experienced to a certain point, but then trust yourself a little bit. Try to think outside the box. Think about what people aren't doing that seems obviously smart to you, and see how it goes. Take limited risks. The same way we develop our software. Take small risks, decide how it went for you, decide what you're going to change, and try again. You know, make small adjustments as you go forward. And that's the way that you build a unique, successful dropshipping business, if I were to say so. From everyone that I've seen, it's people who are creative and resilient and don't give up, you know, but also don't trust what everyone else says necessarily.
Yeah, and I think that is something interesting that you said that earlier in the conversation about not giving up. I think if I were to reinforce something you said a couple of times, is that because too many people market dropshipping like, okay, you're screwed, you want to make some money without no money, come do this thing. And that is definitely not what dropshipping is about. Dropshipping is one of the biggest opportunities, I think, on the internet, because you can start a business with a limited amount of money and make a lot of money, but it does come from reiterating, listing, making mistakes, trying to tweak something, because as you said earlier, someone who's teaching you how to dropship, most of the people are not going into detail about what they tweaked 10 times and then it gave them like 30% margins. Most people are just like giving you a basic, even some of the most expensive courses online, people are giving you a very basic framework to work with. But yeah, thanks, Jessica, for being on. I mean, this is a conversation that I look forward to. I think that we should have another one. Um, now that we've so just for like to be open here on my crazy YouTube channel, we've been trying to get on this call for like 2 weeks, and I've been screwing up, just to be honest. So I apologize, Jessica, for this taking so long. But I hope we could, now that I've gotten my shit together, I hope we could have another call soon, because a lot of these conversations are important, because dropshipping is a huge opportunity, but it comes with, you need to be able to think on your own. You need to be able to use what you learn online, look at the videos, look at the pieces of software, and think on your own. There's sales available. There are people looking for items to sell. Figure out how to get it to them. And I would encourage you guys to look at PriceYak, try it out. I mean, this is the thing about, I will encourage beginner dropshippers to understand that you could buy software and never make any money and move on. But if you stick through it and tweak and look at videos, you have to invest some time and money, both time and money, because a lot of people don't want to buy software unless they know what they're doing. And a lot of times you might start things, not use automation, and that will cause you to fail. Because dropshipping is about keeping all these processes, all these type processes together. So I would challenge any of you beginners who have the money to put aside and would be able to eat if you spend 3 or 4 months trying dropshipping and trying PriceYak. If you're on eBay, if you're on Amazon, a lot of the process is automated. So I encourage you guys to try it. And any of you guys who already use PriceYak, let me know in the comment section. Let us know in the comment section if you're willing to do a video, because I think it would be, as you brought up earlier, a lot of big dropshippers are not going to share their secrets, but hopefully someone watching this video who actually uses PriceYak would want to just come on and talk about it, like get a real experience or a real explanation about your experience that YouTube could use, because these conversations hardly ever happen here. So thanks a lot for your time, Jessica. You guys who are watching this, let us know in the comment section any questions you have. I'll put a link to Jessica's contact in the description. I'll put a link to PriceYak. And Jessica, I invite you back to your channel anytime I have the time now, so I'm settled. So anytime you have the time, you let me know.
Great. I'll send you some details on how our free plan works. We have like a basic plan that will basically be forever free if you're below a certain size, because we want to give people the leeway to poke around and figure out their strategy. And it's also there's also like a 2-week trial, but I'll send you all that information so you can put it in the description, and I'll come back on your channel. We didn't fight. We seem to get along. We could talk more.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jessica. Okay, guys,
Of course.
like the video, subscribe to my channel. Have a good one.